Welcome or welcome back. My name's Emily and the other Emily isn't actually with us today. She is still at work. But we recently got a worm farm and I was really excited and wanted to tell you all about it. Now, it took me weeks. I could not decide. Worm farm, compost bin. Worm farm, compost bin. I was going round and round in circles and I just couldn't make up my mind for what I wanted. But in the end, I decided that I wanted pet worms. So we went from there. Now, the reason that we got a worm farm was because when we moved back to Melbourne, we said that we would be more sustainable and more eco-friendly when we moved into our own place. I think being back in our own place made us realise how much rubbish we were actually using. Now, they estimate that about 50% of household waste is actually organic or compostable material. And I thought it was about time that we started dealing with that in a more eco-friendly way. Now, that waste goes to landfill, and even though it's organic, it creates methane when it's in an anaerobic environment. That creates greenhouse gases. So worm farms are an aerobic environment, so much better for the environment. Plus, they create fertilizer, so 100% organic fertilizer that you can use on your plants and your gardens. Worms will eat a whole variety of things, which we'll go through a bit later. They eat what we call brown food and green food. Now, it's not just the color variations, it's actually different types of food and different requirements that the worm farm needs. Now, I can't concentrate because our puppy, who you haven't seen for a while, is playing in the background and he's being a bit of a menace. So worms really like leafy greens, vegetables, fruits. Be careful with how much citrus you use. You can also give them paper and cardboard and old like plant matter and things like leaves and whatever you rake up on the ground in your garden. Now, I haven't tested it obviously because this is the first time we've had a worm farm, but apparently worms will eat some compostable plastics as well. So that is something else that we will start using soon. So we'll give it a shot and see if our worms will eat them. This is Baxter, for those that haven't met him yet. You can check out our other video. He's a bit noisy. He's all excited because I'm talking. Why is Mum talking? Why isn't she paying attention to me? We'll update you on how he's going in one of our next videos. And for those that were wondering, we do still have our beautiful kitty cat. We love her. But back to the worms. I thought we'll go outside and we'll set it up. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'll do my best. And then we'll feed them and see how we go. Alright, so I've done a little bit of unpacking already, but these are all the things we need. So I've kept this cardboard wrapping because they say to use it in the worm farm as a part of their bedding. This is the worm bedding that was pre-prepared earlier. So all you had to do was add some water into it and let it soak in. This is the worm farm. About to put it together, and of course our worms. Now you'll have to excuse the bit of sunshine and the dog, who will keep bringing me back his soccer ball until we're done. Next we are creating our home layer. So that goes in just like that, and then all the worm tea will drain out to the bottom one of my bedding in here. And next step is the worms. Okay, so hopefully that part wasn't too sunny for you, but I've just popped the worms in. Now these amazing worms are going to be doing all of our composting for us. Woohoo! Now what I'm going to do next is pop one of the feeding trays above. We don't need to put both of them on there because there isn't enough worms and enough compost yet. We'll go on just like that. Now hopefully you'll be able to see there that it is actually touching the compost, so that bit's important because you want the worms to be able to come up. You don't want them to get stuck in the bottom tray. And the final thing to do is to feed the worms. Not you, Baxter. You don't need feeding. I'm just gonna put some of my worm food. That's not very much when you look at it like that. Got some strawberries, some leafy greens, some old leaf matter from some of our plants, and some cardboard from the packaging, so they'll love to eat that. I'm sure I'll have some more scraps after dinner. It's also recommended that you get what is called a worm blanket. So these you simply just pop on over the top of the food, like so. And then it's easy to just pick up and put more food under. Worms like to be in a dark environment, so this helps encourage them to come up the top and eat the food. I also got, when I bought the worm farm, some worm farm compost and conditioner, which you sprinkle in there once a week, and this helps keeps the pH levels neutral. So I think I'm done. Now I'm just going to pop the lid on. Ta-da! Apparently Baxter thinks he's a worm. What you doing, bud? And there it is in all of its glory. We'll have to find somewhere different to put it. They do like having some shade, don't like being in the afternoon sun. Now, that was an incredibly quick rundown of worm farms, why they're important, a quick how-to to put them together, and just a little bit of information about what you can feed them. Hopefully, in a couple of months' time, we'll have great success with our worm farm and we can come back and do a bit of a review, let you guys know how it's going, and let you know what we've had success feeding them. Now, I've seen a lot of posts and comments on some of the sustainability pages on Facebook about buying compost bin buckets, which have pretty words all over them and say compost and food scraps and blah blah blah, to put under the sink. But it's kind of void, you know. If you're getting a compost bin or a worm farm to reduce your waste going into the world, then really you should try and reuse something that you already have. So I got one of my old buckets that had some supplements in it for my horse when I had her, and I just gave it a good clean, and now that lives under my kitchen bench, and that's where the food scraps go. So I'm reusing something instead of buying something new. So if you're going to get a worm farm or a compost bin, do that rather than getting a fancy bucket. If you have any questions or you want to know more, feel free to ask. Comment down below. Check out the Tumbleweed Compost and their YouTube page if you want to see more. They've got heaps of videos about how to put your worm farms together and the best way to look after them. Hopefully we will see you soon. We're trying to get back into the videos again, doing them more frequently, and I'm sure next time you will see the other Emily as well. But for now, me and Baxi would like to say bye, and we'll see you in the next one.